Ravel, ambitious, but brilliant! I don't believe it! I swear I do not believe it! And they are back on terms!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Just for let everybody in the bit of, behind the curtain. Mick forgot to press the live button again, so we are a few minutes late. Well done, Michael. We're all very proud of you.
Yes,
and Danny is with us. Danny hasn't messed up yet, so thank you, Danny.
Yeah, but there's still time, isn't there?
Yeah, aye, there is. So today we're going to round up all the news from the last week. There's transfer rumours, there's takeover rumours, there's been a contract signed by somebody, and plenty of other stuff. Kev Johnson will join us later on, so we'll have a quick chat about the Legends event, which is coming up at the Rotherham Rugby Club at the end of July, which we're all looking forward to. And yeah, it's exciting. Mick, should we start by saying signposting everybody to the Chris Sedgwick podcast that we we released on Thursday? Would you like to do that?
Yeah, get it listened to. It's really good. It's really good. I've got a job in sales. If anybody's interested,
I can tell.
I tell you what, I'll sell it immediately. Just say that Ben highly recommends it.
Yeah, Danny, it's good, isn't it? It said you were brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't speak during it, until the last 20 minutes, which might be a good thing for some people. But yeah, I was just fascinated with the stories that he had to tell, and it was like I was listening to a podcast, but I was there sat with him. But yeah, it is a really good lesson. He does tell some very good stories from his time being a Rotherham player, and how he eventually moved on as well. So yeah, go and watch it. Basically, yeah, it's the next video down from this one. So we'll
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. It's very good. Very good. Said great times. Great times. Powermed UK says, Mick, I hope you got your throat sweets ready for your weekly rant. What Mick's going to say is I ain't got what to rant about this week. I will find something. Don't you worry, Mick. I will find something for you to rant about.
I shall look forward to it.
So yeah, if you want to get involved, if you watch on YouTube, do get involved with the comments. If you're on iTunes, get involved on Twitter, Facebook. Let us know what you want to think about, what to talk about. Let's start with any Michael Smith updates. Luca Wildgoose says, if Smith doesn't sign for us and Wednesday signings, I don't know what I will do. That's what Gunnar says. There better be some good Smith use on the horizon. It's a difficult one, Danny, because there is no news. We're over a week after the supposed deadline, which was then subsequently got extended. It's difficult to know what to do because apparently Ipswich are offering him a bucket full of money. Wednesday are trying to sell stadium to him or something, not something stupid like that Wednesday will do. It's difficult to know anything in these day and ages, but for me, a delay is not good, I think.
No, I don't think so. But it does depend on when they started the negotiations for it. Because we'll talk about this in a minute, but we've already had another player confirmed he is staying and has signed a new deal, but those conversations were started a few weeks, maybe even a couple of months ago. So it all depends on when we've started the conversation with Smith. Maybe he's asked for the extension because someone's come in and he wants to discuss it with his partner and get her thoughts on it and stuff. But yeah, I think I usually say silence is bliss, but with Michael Smith, silence isn't bliss. We want to find out straight away, and then we can crack on with the rest of the recruitment we need to do. But in terms of the the rumour of him going to Wednesday, I agree. If he does go to Wednesday, there should be riots in the streets. But I can't see him going to Chef Wednesday, in all honesty. I can't see him dropping back down to League One, even if Wednesday do give him a house or whatever, or sell him the stadium, like you say, Matt. I can't see him dropping down again. I think Smith now wants to stay in the Championship and show what he can do. The big question is whether it's with us or somebody else. I mean, we've seen Freddie go to Ipswich. All the best to him. I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I can't see Smith dropping down. I think if anything, he's going to try and keep his eye out for a mid-level Championship team or he's going to stay with us and give the Championship one more go with us.
Yeah, this is often the thing, Mick, that we're a club that we accept that if you're a really good player, you're probably not going to stay long at Rotherham United. And certainly from my point of view, if somebody goes on to better themselves, i.e. club higher up the Championship, I don't really mind as long as it's done in the right way, and you've put your all in for the club while you've been there. I don't sort of mind, Middlesbrough, Luton, anybody like that. I honestly wouldn't have a problem with it. But if he went to anybody in League One, anybody, I would be really disappointed because he deserves a shot. He deserves to play in the Championship. And I would be almost disappointed for him if he was to stay in that league because he's just too good for that league. He's earned his chance. Take it.
Yeah, I would agree with you if he's 22, 23, 24, early 20s, whatever. But he's not. He's 30 and whatever contract he signs now is going to be a contract that's going to probably see him to the back end of his career. As a striker, when you get to 34, 35, unless you are super, super fit and super talented, your career's on its way out. So wherever he goes now, from a financial point of view, whether he stays with us or whether he goes somewhere else, the finances are going to have more of a bearing. His own personal finances, his own personal situation, going to have more of a bearing on his decision than they would had it been 6 or 7 years ago. So, if them from Swillsborough come along and offer him 15 grand a week, which they're more than capable of, well, no, they're nowhere near capable of doing, but will do. I would struggle to criticise him for doing that from a personal point of view, from a footballing professional point of view, from a career development point of view. Yeah, it'll be pointless. But I'm in my head, he's a little bit past the career development stage, just because of his age.
He's only 30.
Yeah, I know he is. Yeah, but by the time, whenever this next contract ends, he's going to be 32, probably 33. And for a striker at this level, that is the twilight of his career. So he needs to make some money now. So if he's got a club offering him stupid money to play in League One, and we know that there are clubs in League One who would be willing to offer stupid money, then I'd struggle to criticise him for it. I don't know. You got to take away the issue of him if he went to Swillsborough. I mean, that's just a rumour that somebody started into it because they know that it'll create some clicks and some comments on social media.
It wasn't you, was it, Matt?
No comment.
But Ipswich likewise. They're a club that are still trying to buy their way out of League One, and will continue to do so, I'm sure, until they either go bust or manage to do it. So, yeah, I don't know whether silence is golden in this situation from our point of view, but I don't think we should be getting hung up on it too much.
No.
If Smithy goes, he goes, and he goes with our best wishes wherever he goes, as far as I'm concerned, wherever. However, he could probably make some better decisions than some of the clubs that have been muted as being interested.
The meltdown. If he went to Sheffield Wednesday, the meltdown.
Oh, yeah, but that'd just be funny, wouldn't it?
Would it?
I think there'd be more noise from the Hillsborough lot than there would be from our end, I think. They'd be like, oh, Sam Rotherham's best striker and this, that and other. And it's like, yeah, but he's bagged 2 goals against you at your place and we've won both times there. So we can see why you want him. You just want to be like Rotherham. Switch, rattled all over Twitter.
Wednesday time, just got to remember what happened last time you thought you'd pull rug from beneath his feet. Lewis Wing. That went well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Scott Gundy says 8k a week from us would be great. If he's offered a 15 grand from League One team, he would take it. Yeah, I get that. But then at the same time, would you trust somebody in League One to pay you 15 grand a week? No. The rumour is that one of the stronger rumours from League One is Ipswich, but they've just signed Freddie Ladapo. And we know from the last 3 years that Smithy and Freddie, whenever they play together, don't work really well. They don't seem to link up very well. So why that doesn't make any sense to me. The Ipswich link doesn't make any sense if you've just signed Freddie. I don't know about you, Danny, but they're just opposite signings really for me.
I'm going to go on a major wind up with what I'm going to say now. So basically, the Ipswich rumour, I think, has more of a foundation in that Ipswich want to be like Rotherham, and they've gone, well, they've got out of League One with this front line, so we'll just sign their front line now that they're being released, and so they'll get us out of League One. Like, no, lads, it doesn't work like that. Because like you said, Smith and Freddie, they got on okay as a front line, but if you're going to sign anybody to be more of a cohesive front line, I'd say Smith and Grigg were better together. But yeah, Ipswich just want to be like Rotherham. I mean, the amount of their fans on Twitter have been hilarious of it last week. It's the only real piece of news we've got out of Twitter this week, and it's the Ipswich fans don't know how to take a description of how we have observed a player. But granted, we were the exact same when we signed Freddie from Plymouth. It was all the golden eyes thing. We wouldn't listen to criticism. And now we've found out that the Plymouth fans were right, which no one likes admitting they were wrong and saying, yeah, you were right in this argument. But we'll hold our hands up and go, Plymouth, you had a point. But now Ipswich are now in the same boat as us. They've signed him. They think they've pulled off this absolutely amazing transfer that, he didn't sign his contract extension at Rotherham and now we've signed him. But it's like, no, we didn't offer the extension because we wanted him out the door. Yeah, but if they were to sign Smith, I don't think they'd entertain it because it's too far of a journey down for him because his family's all based in Barnsley. Well, him and his partner and his kids are based in Barnsley. I think they've got another littling on the way. So would he want to uproot on that basis? Probably not. Same thing happened with Matt Crooks. Matt Crooks wanted to go closer to home, stay within Yorkshire. He went to Middlesbrough and he was strongly linked with Ipswich at one point as well. So Smith could be in the same situation. So out of the two, Wednesday would probably be the better destination, but I can't see that happening. I'll stick to my guns and say Ipswich, yeah, they could offer the money, but I really do think Smith wants Championship football, and I think he'll be holding out for, say, I don't know, we might do a swap deal between Tom Eaves and Michael Smith at Hull. You never know.
True. They've got a bit more money now, aren't they, with their recent sale with the club. S64 Miller says, doesn't Stoke Cardiff want Smudge? Yeah, that was a rumour early on. That seems to have died down a bit, to be honest with you. But with Wales qualifying for the World Cup and the rumours that Gareth Bale might be going there, if I'm Michael Smith, I'm telling my agent to get in ear of them because you've got Gareth Bale out wide picking balls in. Smith will get 30. It'd be just ridiculous.
Kiefer Moore's better anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry, was my mic not on mute? I'm sorry.
We asked you to get involved on Twitter, so we've got a few tweets on here. So, for example, Chris on IFC, so got the first part of this tweet. He says, Smith and Icky is giving them more time for a good idea for us, or have they made their minds up and just wanted to give them time to move away? I suppose the question there, Mick, is how long can we wait, or does it matter how long we can wait? Is it just wait because we will have backups lined up, or does there need to be a cut-off so by an X day? Please tell us.
Well, the first question you have to ask is, as a club, are we waiting still? That's the question, yeah. I mean, we don't know whether we are. The club themselves may well have all the answers. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. It's just not been announced yet for whatever reason. If that's the case, then I would argue that nobody's keeping anybody hanging on. The club will deal with this as quickly and as efficiently as they possibly can, won't they? They're not idiots. We're not talking about that. We're not talking about the Rotherham United setup of the mid 1990s. Here, we're talking about a properly run football club from top to bottom. People who know what they're doing and who've got experience. They're not going to be held to ransom by players. And to be fair, bearing in mind the type of player that Warney has recruited, it's unlikely that the players are going to try and hold the club to ransom as well. You've got to factor into that agents who will hold their own grandmothers to ransom. But it's just, that's how it is, isn't it? That's the business that we're in. But from a club's point of view, we won't stand it. We didn't stand it with Freddie. Look how they dealt with Freddie and his agent. well, probably more agent than Freddie, to be fair, and that's my guess. So I don't think we should get too hung up on it for the time being. Let's not worry, because it will be being dealt with one way or another. Yeah, it'd be nice to have an answer as a supporter, but come that first game in back end of July, we'll know the answer.
Yeah. Hikwe has been linked with Derby, Danny. Again, I haven't seen Icky linked with any Championship clubs at all, which I find a bit strange. Again, Derby, by the sounds of it, Derby are trying to sign literally everybody that's available in League One, but they still can't officially sign anybody. Takeover's not gone through. So from that point of view, Icky's going to have to wait. And who knows?
Yeah.
So from a safety point of view, it's difficult to wait for Derby, really, because you don't know what's happening. Such a chaos thing. It's difficult for him to sign, isn't it, really?
Yeah, and Jerry Simpson brings up a great point. Derby actually can't sign anyone officially sign anybody given their current situation. Because I believe they're still in administration. The new deal with the new owner hasn't officially gone through yet. If it still does go through, which Chris Kitchener says it probably will do. So they might have offered Icky something and just gone, if you just wait, we'll offer you this. But then Icky doesn't actually know if that will still be on the table when it all happens and goes through, because they might have somebody else lined up who's interested, and then not offer Icky the deal at all. And if that's the situation, and we've already said, thanks for your time, we'll see you later, where would he end up then? But I've been given some information that I think Icky's getting married during the summer. There was a few Rotherham players tying the knot in the summer, didn't they? Wes Harding's tied the knot, so congrats to him. And I think Icky's doing it over in Merseyside as well. So that might be why he's asked for more time, just to settle into that a little bit, get that over the line.
Get that marriage over the line.
Yeah. well, he's signing a new deal, isn't it? It's a new relationship deal, isn't it? So he's already got one deal to sign, and he's moving on to the next one. But yeah, I think with giving players more time, the fact that we've said we're giving them more time to think about their options and what's going to happen means we're being a bit proactive about it, meaning we're saying to them, what's your decision? Can I have a bit more time? Yeah, we'll give you some more time. The main example that I keep thinking of is Matt Sunday. We kept giving him more time, but he kept holding out for a bigger offer. And in the end, we just went, nah, you're all right. We're not going to offer it, because it says he rejected the contract, but I think we rejected his proposal of a bigger deal. I think that's how it all worked out. But it's good that the club is communicating these things, that they are giving them more time. So to me, because we haven't heard anything over the weekend, they might have got their answer and they're keeping it quiet until Monday, or maybe they've got something special prepared for signing new deals and stuff. We'll have to wait and see. But again, Icky's one where it's like, would he really want to drop down to League One? I know Derby might offer him, I mean, Derby would offer him a fair bit of money if they're allowed to, but would Icky want to drop down into League One? I think the last time we were in the Championship and we had fans in, wasn't Icky loaned out to Accrington? Yeah. I mean, he's a different player now, but I think Icky wants a fair crack at the Championship, especially with fans there now. It's really hard to try and get into the mindset, because obviously we don't know what's going through their heads, because we're not on phone to him daily going, Icky, what's up with you? But yeah, I don't know. Long and short of it is, I don't know, but I can make the assumption that Icky might look for a Championship club rather than Derby.
I hope so. I would hope so. You got to look at people. We go back to John Taylor. You look back to Ryan Williams, Anthony Ford. They all promised Championship clubs. There's even rumours. Clark Robertson, I think, yeah. There were even rumours that John Taylor tried to come back to us later on because he couldn't get a Championship club, and we rejected him because we'd moved on. Whether that rumour's true or not, I don't know. But Icky's been here long enough to see these other guys. Same with Smithy. They've been here long enough to see what can happen if you wait too long. And all three of those are stuck in League One still, and have been ever since. So it is
John
a fine
Taylor's
line.
in League Two now, isn't he?
He's in League Two. Exactly. Yeah. And next time we get a player on, we'll have to ask him about how stressful these situations are, because not every player goes through these type of situations. But I wonder how stressful it is for the player deciding where to go. For me, it sounds stressful. Yeah,
Chris Sedgwick talked about that in the interview we did with him, didn't he? That's quite an interesting. That was quite an interesting insight into how that played out. So you would anticipate that things probably play out similarly now as well.
Yeah, that's possibly true. Stephen Adams asks, is there any update on Grigg? Danny, I'll come to you, but I haven't heard anything on that. Have you heard anything?
I think the situation with Will Grigg is that we are waiting until his rehabilitation is done before really putting anything on the table for him. Paul Bourne has talked about wanting to offer him a deal and for him to re-sign. And when we bumped into him at the Sainsbury's outside Gillingham with a crate of beer under his arm, which was quite funny, we did say to him, "Are you going to re-sign?" And he verbally said yes, but of course other things can happen in football. He can say he wants to re-sign. We could say we'd like to re-sign him, but maybe the rehab doesn't go to plan, or somebody else comes in and then something different happens. But from what we've heard, especially in the advertiser and from the advertiser and from Grigg's word of mouth, there is probably a deal verbally agreed. But I think we are playing the smart approach and say, right, we'll wait until your rehab's done and then we'll go from there. Because something might crop up in the last few weeks with his rehab that we've not seen. We've already signed, we signed Georgie Tutu, and he was still technically injured and couldn't play a part for a bit. So we're probably looking at it going, if we sign Grigg injured and jump the gun a little bit on it, how much of pre-season will he see? Will we get a full pre-season under his belt? All those questions would crop up. So I think, Shellstone bang on the money, wanting him to prove his fitness first before putting anything on the table. And that's about it with Will Grigg. However, he is on Instagram now, which is nice. So drop him a follow on Instagram. Get his followers up. Make all Rotherham fans his followers. Bombard his comments with, when are you signing, Griggy?
Will do. I hope he resigns, and we hope we get him on podcast. I had a dream last night that we interviewed him for a podcast. And in my dream, he was horrible. He was so horrible to us. So hopefully in real life, he's actually nice. I'm sure he is. So hopefully my dream is completely wrong. So shall we
Sounds
talk
more like
about...
a nightmare, that, Matt.
we tried to ask him about something about to do with Sunderland, and he went, "No, I'm not talking about anything to do with it." It was unpleasant. Shall we have a quick mention about Tom Eaves? This is the hottest transfer room we have. Again, same tweet from Chris. Tom Eaves rumoured to be signed tomorrow, which is Monday. Is he a good fit, or should we have spent some money on somebody like Cole Stockton? Again, we've got a bit of information about Tom Eaves. Let's do the breakdown as we have them with a few other players. So for a bit of information, Tom Eaves is 30 years old, same age as Connor Washington, same age as Michael Smith as well. Centre forward, his goal scoring record is not blistering. It's probably similar to Michael Smith, not last time before. Tommy's got 5 goals in 30 appearances in the last season. He is 6'3", and his top stat, according to Football Manager, is headers, with his rumoured salary to be about $5,500 a week. Rumoured, obviously. Mick, does this seem like a straight swap for Smith? On paper, it does.
Yeah, I suppose it does, really. Yeah. I mean that would be the obvious sort of conclusion to draw from that, wouldn't it? I'm laughing at the fact that I'm living in a time where we get our stats from Football Manager. It's just to point it out. It's not saying, "Oh my God, Football Manager says it's amazing." It's just to point out what his top stat is. I mean, it's good that it's heading and not just not kicking. But there you go. That's. It would be that would be the obvious conclusion to draw, wouldn't it? That he's a straightforward replacement for Smithy. Sounds like his goal scoring record's pretty similar to Smithy before he joined us as well. So, which is not great. Don't know. We'll see. All we can do is sit tight and wait, because obviously these are just transfer rumours as they stand, and some of them they get stronger and stronger and stronger, and then they disappear off the radar again, don't they? So if we get a tweet out from Rotherham United tomorrow saying big news coming soon, Smith is signed or re-signed, Tom Eaves is forgotten in an instant. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. He's one of those players, Danny. I've seen a lot of people complain on Twitter, as they do, about Tom Eaves not being a championship player and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, he's played 30 games in the championship last season and a team who finished, I think, 16th or 17th. If that's not a championship player, what is a championship player? And he's not scored 20 goals in a season, a striker. Well, he's not going to do if he's playing for Hull in that position in the league, but he's clearly a decent player to play that many games for him in a team who's comfortably stayed up.
Yeah, and I think another thing you have to factor into it is how many minutes of those games he's played. Like, what's his total minutes of the games he's played? Now, if he's playing a full 90 week in, week out in those 30, 31 appearances, but he's then got that goal scoring record, then it's like, yeah, okay, you might have a point. But like you say, it's very similar to Smith's goal scoring record before we signed him, and look what happened. We play a more direct style of football. Definitely more on the press, get the ball, play it forward, that more direct sort of style. But I've just done a bit of quick maths. Man's not hot. And Tommy's only really played an average of 40 minutes in those 30 appearances for Hull this season. So 5 goals and 5 assists, that's not too bad when you're only averaging 40 minutes a game. And I think he only completed a full 90 on 7 appearances. The rest have been an odd spell of under 20 minutes, sometimes only 60 minutes. So they're the sort of numbers you're looking at. So, Michael Smith, he plays full 90 virtually every game. So that could be one reason why he got 19 league goals in League One, because he's got that constant ticking over in the game and that more constant delivery. So effectively, if you're playing 50 minutes more than what Tom Eaves is playing, you're probably going to have more of a chance to score in later in the game, aren't you? But I think the criticism is a bit unjust. I think some people are still basing it how he performed for us. Bear in mind, I think he played 8 times on loan for us. Yeah, and it was about, how long ago? Were it about 5 years ago? Something like that?
Steve Evans, I think.
Yeah, so fair bit ago. But if we do sign Tom Eaves, I'm quite excited to see what he has to offer, because I think he's now a completely different player to what he was when we had the brief spell with him. And over the last 2 seasons, he has been fairly consistent. Like we said on screen, 21-22, 5 goals, 3 appearances. 2020-21, 4 goals, 4 assists. Consistent, I think. But if you've got the delivery that we gave to Smith last season, he is probably going to score a fair few for us as well. Plus, second striker, backup, that sort of thing. But again, don't judge him until he's in a Rotherham shirt. That's what I'll say.
Yes. Yeah, nobody will listen to that, Danny, but yes, I agree. S64 Miller says, I have met Grigg, and he is one of the nicest men on earth, nearly as nice as Danny, so that's good to know. I like that.
Thanks for that, Grace.
So what we're going to know now, we're going to have a quick advert from Manscaped, a sort of a quick advert. So last week we put together an advert, and Mick is the most useless person in the world at doing adverts. So Mick's put together a bloopers reel from the advert we did. We should have taken out all the swear words from this, and there was a lot because I got annoyed at Mick. So if there is any, apologies. But yeah, this is from Manscaped, which was about Manscaped. We're back in a minute. So we're here today to talk about the new Manscaped products that Manscaped have kindly sent us. We've got the Boxers 2.0.
Sorry, that's my fault.
It's always Ben's fault. So we're here today to talk about Manscaped's new products. Fucking did it.
Come on, man. It's him.
As soon as he ticked off it, he weren't even looking.
Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should be part of this. You lot seem far more grown up than me.
Maybe a bloopers episode coming out.
So I highly recommend them.
Is it the satin waistband, which is very comfortable as well?
No, it's the
Some
front fly opening.
Okay, that's comfortable, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Each to their own.
I imagine.
It is very. very helpful.
So if you want to join Ben in enjoying some boxes and any of the wonderful products that Manscaped put out, go to manscaped.com, use the code NYT, and I'll give you 20% off, free shipping. And Ben
highly recommends it.
nailed it. Yeah, some swear words snuck through them, didn't they, Meg?
Did they? I don't know. I didn't hear them. Apologies.
Yeah. Apologies about that. But yeah, Manscaped Boxers 2.0. Thank you all.
Can I just put a disclaimer out there? We're not laughing at the products themselves, right?
No.
We are laughing at Mick, because every time the little timer that's in the corner that we can see about how long we've been recording for, every single time it ticked over to the next minute, Mick could just go off on one. So, oh God, I were in tears watching that. You saw on the clips themselves, I were in tears. I were in tears again. Oh dear.
The end product, we will put a proper advert about the end product next episode because the box is brilliant. So yeah, John S. highly recommended. John Morell, excellent advert, highly recommended. Yeah, all right. Brill. So we're going to move on now, and we're going to bring in Kev Johnson. Kev Johnson's with us. Thank you for joining us, Kev. How are you doing?
You're welcome, guys. You all right?
Very, very good.
Okay.
Yeah, not too bad.
Good.
So before we go any further, Kev, let's talk about the Legends Night that you're doing. First of all, how many tickets left? Because you nearly sold out. Are you sold out yet?
We had a few people couldn't make it due to holidays, or they're not asked their last properly and stuff like that. So there's 5 left, mate. That's it. 5. All the VIP tables are sold, and there's 5 single tickets left.
Brill. So if you want to come to the Thursday night, Rotherham Rugby Club. So if I'm right in saying we have John Breckin, Mark Todd, Guy Branston, Ben Pringle.
Yep.
Also Howard Rebb, Ronnie Moore. We've got a music and a comedian.
Yeah.
Pie
and peas.
30 quid. Pie and peas.
Yeah, 30 quid. Obviously, big thanks to the sponsors. So we've got obviously Cascade Draining. Gav, thank you for that. John Atherton from Weymouth Skoda, and obviously Matt Twigg from Eric Twigg Food, who's providing all pie and peas free of charge, which is lovely touch. Thank you, Matt.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
I'm not going to talk about the club, how much they wanted us to hold it up, because a lot of people have messaged me saying, why is it not at the ground? All I'll say is they wanted 4 figures just to have it there, just for the room hire. So that's where I'm at.
Understandable. It's all for Rotherham Hospice as well. So if you can put money in Rotherham Hospice, as we know, it's an amazing cause.
Yeah.
So let us move on to another topic of discussion which has come up in the last week or so. The takeover rumours, which appear to have started by Tony Stewart himself, which is interesting. So in the advertised last week, it was Tony Stewart mentioned that he had basically had interest from a takeover. Lots of toing and throwing on Twitter about this. Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? Kev, I'll start with you. What is your take on what he said and, well, just the whole rumours, basically?
I think it's true. Someone told me in lounge a few months back, a few months before end of season, and I believe it's true. I think it was American as well, if I'm right. But yeah, there's some truth in it, and good or bad, I can't really say until it happens. I mean, you look at all the disastrous ones, and you think, do I want to be that? And yeah, I think stick with Tony, and I think the problem might be he wouldn't want to give up total control. He'd want some input, and from what I can gather, the American takeover wanted control. So that's all I really know on it, really.
Yeah, I think that's it's the thing. Tony Stewart, we know it again. We know Tony Stewart he's took us from the brink to the championship, and that's sort of where we are. You could get a new owner. It was amazing. He may chuck £300 million in pot, and you might be into the promised land. But as Kev mentions, we could end up like Oldham. We could end up like all these other clubs. So it's almost the better the devil you know. Yeah. To a point.
Yeah.
Are you aiming that at me, Matt?
I mean, I said your name, so.
Did you? All right. That's fair enough then. Listen, Tony Stewart will do what he thinks is right for the club. He's done what he thinks is right for the club for the last 15 years now. 16 years, however long it's been in charge, and he's taken us from an absolute shed of a club to where we are now. The last thing he's going to do, I think, is sell us out to somebody like that show that bought Barnsley or the other the other clubs that we've talked about. So he'll do his due diligence, and if he thinks it's right, I'm sure he'll accept some investment. But it will have to be right for the club. I don't think it has to be right for Tony Stewart. I don't think. Again, this is just my assumption because I don't know the bloke, but I don't think this is about money for Tony Stewart. This is not about trying to sell the club and recoup his investment or anything else. It's about making sure that and I might be being a bit pie in sky here, and a bit sort of glazy eyed, but for me, it's about for him keeping this club on an even keel and allowing it to develop and go forward, not about taking any money back or taking any investment out of it. So if there's a deal being offered and he's rejected it, then as far as I'm concerned, it weren't a very good deal.
Yeah. I'm going to play devil's advocate now, Danny, because I like doing this. I like doing the opposite. And NSW puts this sort of plays into the point. NSW says, unless we get a little near the championship wages instead of miles away, we will struggle to bring players in and keep them. And that's a lot of arguments. A lot of people on Twitter and in social media is that what we've done in the past hasn't worked from a wages and everything. We can't attract the right people. We potentially can't keep Michael Smith. Potentially can't keep Icky. How long can we keep going on under the point of not paying these wages? Again, that's not my words. That's just sort of putting together what's on social media. What would your argument be to that if you had to give one?
I think in a world where a lot of clubs are in debt, especially in the Championship, a lot of clubs are in debt, it's nice to be one of the few that are sustainable. Because I think there's only really us and Accrington who are the quote-unquote sustainable clubs in terms of finances, what we make and what's put in. It's only really us and Accrington that keep our heads above the water, if you like. And I think in a world where there is so much money in football, and whether the bubble bursts in 5 years, 10 years or 50 years, it's nice to be one of the few that will be okay, whatever the situation. And we do have Tony Stewart to thank for that. I can see why other people would like a quote-unquote money man, like a proper big multi-100 million pound money man to come in, because then it would take the club to a much higher level in the current world of football. But to look at the model Tony Stewart's put round this club to take us from Millmoor to Don Valley and then come to New York and make us into a sustainable entity, I think that's why we should keep hold of him, because we might not stay up in the Championship, but we don't lose 20 million pounds worth of investment due to wages and such trying to stay in the league. I mean, you need to look at, say Leeds United when they dropped into League One. It took a massive rebuild for them to get back to where they were. But with us, we never need like a massive structural rebuild when we drop down at league, and that's why we've bounced back at the first attempt every single time. A bit more money might push us up the league, fair enough. But I think, like I've said before, in a world where there is so much money in football, it's nice to be the one club that keeps your head above the water behind the scenes, rather than keeps your head above the water on the tables that you see in the newspaper and online.
Yeah. And also, Kev, I suppose, because of the tight ship that Tony Stewart's running, if the right investment did come in, Rotherham are a good place for us to invest money, because we ain't going to pay off £50 million worth of debt. There's basically no debt. So if somebody does want to come in and is willing to work with Tony Stewart, it's a good club to do that if the right person ever came along. Yeah,
I think my concern with if I had God knows how many millions wanting to invest in a football club, would Rotherham be the club I'd choose to buy? Because you look at how far you can actually go. Even if we stay up in Championship next season, we're still going to get 8, 9, 10,000 fans through games. Even if we get up to Premier League, which will never going to happen. So, but if we did, we're still going to get 8, 9, 10,000 fans through the gates. So it's one of them. It's poison hour, isn't it? I don't know, and I totally agree with Danny. We've just got fans have just got to be realistic and accept that we are what we are. We're not. Sounds daft. We aren't going to compete even with clubs like Bolton and teams in League One. Still, we can't. Ipswich and Portsmouth and all, and we can't match their wages. I mean, the offer they've put to Smudge, I don't know that 100%. I was told that it's a absolutely it weren't quite the 10K what they paid Blackstock, but it weren't far off, and it was a 4-year deal as well. So, but if it's say, I don't know, eight grand a week or something, but you got Bolton or someone, even Wednesday's, God forbid, I don't think he'd go there if he did. They'd happily give him 15 grand. Yeah. We can't do that, and hats off to Tony Shute for doing like Danny says. We are sustainability brilliant, and I'd rather do that. Nobody wants to go down, but I'd rather us bounce back again and keep the ship steady.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of fans that haven't seen those dark days, and I promise you, if you didn't, those days were horrible of not knowing if you're having a club in 3 months' time. I'll give it me League Two over going those days again. Honestly, those were terrible.
Yeah.
I think if you haven't seen the times where towards the back end of the time at Millmore, I highly recommend getting John Breckin's book and reading that, because it goes into a little bit of detail about what was happening. So little read up on that and you understand how bad everything was. Even when we spoke to Chris Sedgwick, he mentioned it briefly about how much of a mess the club was, and to go from that to where we are now in about 15 years, it's incredible what Tony Stewart's done.
Yeah,
and I say stick with him. Tony in all the way.
Mick, I thought we might get a rant out of you about people suggesting Tony should go. I ain't baited you in.
I wouldn't even discuss that, because anybody that suggests that just don't know what they're talking about, do they?
No. I know, I was looking for a rant.
You look at all this investment that's going into clubs, and for every one that has been a successful investment, I don't know, I assume you could call Man City successful, probably. There's probably 5 or 10 that have gone down drain, So it's just it doesn't make any sense when you and I think everybody understands that when they sit back or stand back and then look at it, everybody understands they don't want that sort of thing to happen to their club, and it will 9 times out of 10 probably.
Yeah. Danny, does that count as a rant? Can I have that one, or is it not?
Give it over.
But I need to add another bit of lettering to the flag that says "Mick sort of rant incoming."
Football season's not on, is it? I'm chilled out now, mate. I've been in Wales for a week, and they I don't want to go back now because they've qualified for World Cup, so we're not yet last on it now when we go back.
Have they won?
Talk about England.
Oh, sorry, have I spoiled it? You haven't taped it, Kev, have you?
No, mate. I've been at football. I've just come back, but I didn't know result. But I won't. Don't worry, I weren't going to watch it.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about England if you want, mate. That'll get your blood racing, won't it?
Not me, no. I didn't watch it.
No, you
did.
Yeah. Joe Stone says, I think Tony Stewart wants the club to survive in Championship. Joe obviously thinks the case. Paramount UK, I don't think Tony Stewart wants to see his time wasted. If it's not right for Rotherham going forward, he won't go for it. And also, Shelson points out the last time in the Championship wasn't a typical season it was with no fans. He put money in the club to keep us solvent rather than going out and players, and we were so close, which I think is a really important point. Yeah. But Chris Taylor goes on the sort of other side. Will we just stagnate like this until everyone gets fed up and stops going? We need more fans, not less. Yeah.
Is it stagnating?
Well, that's the question, isn't it? At what point do you call it stagnating? We're going up and down, but it is going up and down stagnating. I don't think it is.
I don't. And I think we are coming back stronger each time as well. I mean, the squad we had last season were better than we had the 2 years before. So it's not really stagnating for me. It's improving and, playing with what you've got best and building on, if we do go down, which I don't think we will next year. I generally think we will stay up next year.
Yeah. I probably agree with that. So we've got a few tweets. We have this one I've put together from Chris Nichols. Will we be seriously challenging to stay up next season? Danny, I suppose Kev's just sort of answered it, but why not, I suppose, is the answer. We've got a strong enough squad last time, and there's not that many changes other than the obviously big ones potentially.
I'm nailing my colours to mast on this one. We'll finish in a position ending in teen and not 20, and not starting with 20. I'm telling you, it'll be 19th or higher for us next season. Because you know how we all love football symmetry. We've seen that today with Grimsby scoring in the 111th minute to go back to the Football League, and they spent 111 seasons in the Football League. That's the beauty from this one. But you just need to look at our recent Championship seasons. We went down absolutely awfully. Then we came back and went down on the penultimate game and then the final game. So logic dictates we're going to stay up this time because we've got one step closer every single time. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that. We're staying up.
Okay.
I hope we don't stay up on final game.
Oh God, no! I can't handle that again.
I don't want any of that game.
And if it's away at Cardiff again on the final day,
Michael Smith scores winner.
Oh no! Can you imagine?
Now, even better, we'll re-sign Will Volks, and then he'll score the winner at Cardiff.
No, we can sign Marlon Pack. We'll sign Marlon Pack, and he can score the winner. He can put it right.
Yeah,
I'll give it a week until them rumours are on Twitter.
We can re-sign Will Volks, and we can have a double whammy. We can have a proper championship refereeing performance, and Will Volks scoring direct from a throw-in. That would be football symmetry.
yeah.
It would. Lee Freeman, Mick, I'm going to ask you. I don't think you care. Lee Freeman wants to know: do you think we'll break our transfer record this year? I mean, a rumour about 450 for Freddie, Mick. You don't care, do you?
No, I'm not interested.
I'm
not interested. All I'm interested in is that Warney and his team get the players that they want. That's it. I don't care how much they cost. You know, if they get them for free, if they get them for 10 bob and a Fredo from Notts County or wherever, I'm not interested. It doesn't matter. If they get the players that they want, if they get the right personnel, we'll be comfortable next season. We will be comfortable. We all know what this league is about. We've been here for enough times now over the last 4 or 5 years. We know what this league's about. We know that gap between bottom and third is tiny.
It is. Yeah. Get the men up top right, and then we go. We don't know how good Georgia Kelly's going to be at this level. We don't really know how good Connor Washington's been at this level. We've been injured. We were going to watch him for Northern Ireland, weren't we? But he's injured and he certainly missed the first 2 games of the international run. Hopefully we'll get to see him. We'll get to see him with red shirt next season, I suppose. And we've got another tweet, this one from Harvey Kelwick. Players you would like to sign for Rotherham, maybe. Kev, is there any players out there that you sort of think you look, if we can get him, and it's realistic, if we can get him, it'd be massive for us?
I suppose it depends on what happens with Smudge. I think until we know, which is, I think we're getting more and more frustrated with a no answer, I suppose. But until we know, we can't. I mean, if Smudge goes, which I do think he's going to now, Cole Stockton, it'd be the one I go for. And I don't think he costs a lot of money. For some weirdly, there's not Championship clubs sniffing around him already. It's bizarre. Maybe £500,000 a game. I don't know. And he's probably the one. I don't think we're far off. He'd be my like replacement for Smudge.
Yeah, I agree with that. To be honest with you, Danny, is there any other names? Ross Sykes. Ross Sykes from Atkinson's one we've mentioned before. We are going to be short. Even if Icky stays, we're going to be short for centre backs. We've got Woody and Icky, and probably going to play 3 at back. So centre backs is potentially even more important than getting a couple more strikers in.
Yeah, I think with defenders though, it's going to be an hard sell, isn't it? Because we'll want players with championship experience who know what the league's all about. But then you've got people like Ross Sykes from Accrington who were an absolute machine when we played Accrington all 3 times, actually. But yeah, I think it is now a case of wait to see what happens with Michael Smith. Might be why Tom Eves is closer to being signed than anybody else. And then priority might shift to looking at anyone at the back to bring them in, see how they do. But I don't have any names right now. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see with that one. But you're right. I think we'll play 3 at back again and keep with the high press. Because if there's one thing Championship teams don't like, it's high pressing. Because they see a lot more of the ball in the Championship. So if you can get them on the high press and you don't let them play around you, then we could disrupt a few for sure.
I think Reg could come back as well. I think even if now Huddersfield have not gone up, I still don't. I can't see Reg getting into Huddersfield's side, so maybe we can get him back.
Yeah. And if he's not going to get in their team now, is there potential for a permanent transfer? I know he's just signed a new contract, but he's 22, 23. He's not an 18-year-old kid who needs to play games. He's ready to go. He's ready. Yeah. So if they don't want him, if he's not going to play, there might be a deal to be done for permanently, potentially.
I believe we did want him on permanent to begin with. Yeah, but obviously signing the deal with Huddersfield, that might be more of a security thing more than anything. And then we got him on loan. And if Huddersfield are wanting to get out of the Championship and push to the Premier League again, then he might come back. In all honesty, yeah, he probably will. But
if you've got a player on loan at a club that's doing really, really well and his contract's due to end in the summer, you're going to call him back and get him to sign a new contract for it before his loan period runs out, aren't you?
Yeah.
Because you know that they're going to want to buy him. He strikes me as a player that will probably suit their manager rather than some of the lads that they've got. I think they've released. Is it Sarr that they've released?
Yeah, they are.
He's a big, solid defender. I like him. He's a good lad, but he didn't strike me as being. It's more of a traditional centre half, whereas Reg is more of a play out from the back centre half.
Yeah.
And for me, will probably suit their manager better than the likes of Sarr. So maybe that could be something. I know I've seen in the comments there that John Morrell, he keeps banging on about Harley Dean. He's desperate to get rid of Harley Dean.
We don't want Harley Dean.
Hey, we've seen him twice this season against us down at Swillsborough. He ain't coming to us. I've said that now. First tweet tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Lee Freeman says Reg back, but also Alfie Mawson. Alfie Mawson was released from, I think, Fulham, but could be on a fair whack, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure about that one. Scott Grundy says he loves Scott Twine. I think we all would, but again, I imagine money MK Dons will be asking for. They'll be asking for millions for him.
2 million plus season.
Yeah, definitely. Scott Grundy also says Alfie May, I think it was at Cheltenham, potentially. Don't know how he would fit into how we play. I don't know. We should give a shout out to Chio. Somebody Chio played for Republic of Ireland. They lost to Armenia. Armenia or Andorra? Armenia, weren't it?
Armenia.
Yeah. They lost to Armenia, that's a very poor result for Ireland when they were trying to get promotion from the Nations League. But he won player of the match. Chio being Chio, won player of the match. If I know this Irish son like I think they probably asked him about Swansea in this post-match interview. I'm amazed we didn't see a quote about Chio saying Swansea are a great club again, to be honest with you, even though we didn't actually say it. But we didn't.
We might switch it up and switch to a different club now. Yeah, they've had the bite there. They'll switch it up a bit and move a bit further up Championship or even Premier League. You know, Brentford. Fancy a return to Brentford, Chio. You know, that's where you came from. Where your roots are. You know, you left us here in Ireland to go to England and went to Brentford. You know, would you fit in there now? Oh, I like Brentford. Yeah, they're a decent club. Chio wants to sign to Brentford. There's your article, Irish Sun. If you want it, just clip that bit, put that on. There you go.
Yeah. JJ didn't get on for the Republic of Ireland under 21s. He was an unused substitute. And as Carl Scott mentions, Conor Washington was injured. We hope it isn't too serious, but we don't know. We'll keep an eye out for the next thing. They've got 2 more games, I think. So we'll keep an eye out for him there. We'll probably finish with one more thing to talk about. I think Jamie Lindsay has signed a 2-year contract, Danny. It feels like a bit of a no-brainer for everybody. The only hiccup could have been if the Pompey interest became properly serious. But it seems like he wants to play in Championship, and he fits Rotherham United. Jamie Lindsay and Rotherham United, they just fit like a jigsaw piece.
Yeah, I think the 2-year deal is definitely just to back Portsmouth away now. You know, they had their initial interest in January, and then, funnily enough, as soon as he stayed on, we scored against Doncaster. So, yeah, fair enough. Lindsay, he wants Championship football, doesn't he? He wants to play at the highest level possible, but he also wants a bit of security, you know, because he's got 2 young kids as well. And he just loves it here, doesn't he? I think a 2-year deal's right for him because that's this year secure, but it does also tempt the fate of if we do go down again, he's still got that year option, so we can get a little bit of money for him if he decides to move on again. So I think that's a good deal all round for everybody. And I hope Lindsay does crack on because, you know, Ollie Rathbun's untested in the Championship. And if it does become a little bit of a deer in the headlights situation for him, I don't think it will. But if it does, Lindsay will step in and steady everything in that midfield very, very easily. And also, if we do lose Wiles to Sheffield United, again, I don't think we will. But we've got Lindsay there, easy peasy. And I think he wants to chip in as much as he can as well. So, great deal for everybody. And I hope he cracks on.
Mm.
And I hope he scores 2 against Sheffield United, because then he's 2 for 2 with the Sheffield clubs.
Yeah, very true. And it wouldn't surprise me if we put an option in there. So as we have done with most of our players, wouldn't surprise me to have an option for the third, from our point of view, which is always possible. Mick, anything you want to add on Jamie Lindsay, other than he's just...
I just wondered if anybody had mentioned Swansea to him, bearing in mind he wants to I mean, I'll give Paul Davis a ring, ask him about it. Then start advertising.
Yeah. That security, Kev, almost says for our midfield next season. I mean, it's not set in stone. But we don't really need to strengthen that much. That midfield, if we can get somebody better, brilliant. But what we've got is probably going to be good enough for what we're aiming for, anyway.
Yeah, I think so. With Lindsay staying, I mean, it's like it just fits. He's just the Rotherham fit in. He's the perfect type player we need. Which is why I know we're laughing about the Ben Wiles Sheffield, but he fits their profile. So I wouldn't be surprised any truth in that. So I think it's a great sign and keeping him here. And if we keep order Wiles and Ogbene, that midfield for me, championship ready for me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, completely agree. But Mick, I've asked you this before. If Sheffield United are interested, what price tag are you putting on Wilesley?
Where's he on with contract wise?
At least a year. I think there might be an option in there. I'm not sure.
Listen, everybody you speak to within the club says that he is the best footballer in that football club, bar none. So we're saying a couple of weeks ago that if somebody wants to come in for Chio, you pay us what it's going to cost us to get relegated, i.e. 4 or 5 million quid, or you do one. Well, for me, he pays the same, 4 or 5 million quid minimum, or you do one, because that's what he's worth at this level. And I know people will laugh. Oh, with post-COVID, we ain't got money. There's not the money swirling about and everything else. Well, I'm sorry, you pay it or you do one. And I genuinely think that's the sort of the stance that Tony Stewart and the club are taking now. We're not going to let people go for 200,000. It's not going to happen. So, and Sheffield United haven't got the money, have they?
No.
There'll still be on parachute payments, won't there?
Yeah, but they lent against it, didn't it? They did that Burnley thing where they lent against the parachute payment if they got relegated.
Right.
I think they needed to go up this year, potentially. May come to eat his words on that one.
I mean, Heckingbottom has said they'll more dip into the Premier League loan market rather than paying big fees for players. So if we want, like I say, Mick, if we want relegation compensation fees, they won't pay it, I don't think. I think they might look more towards 1.5-2 million for Wales, but we'll just go, 4 or 5, or back you go of M18.
Yeah, I think people and people. I have Wednesday fans who come and say, "Hey, we saw Crooksy last year for $750,000, whatever it was." That was post-COVID. That was a different market, a completely different market, and we got relegated. We're not in League One now; we're in Championship.
The only person we've ever actually got a realistic fee for, Will Vokes. He's the only one we actually got proper money for. Everyone else, even Semi Ajayi, I mean, that were an absolute snip he went for. But I think Mick's right. If Wiles were to go, or Ogbene, I think it'd have to definitely smash our record transfer, like what we've received, definitely. Yeah,
I completely agree. Cheryl Stones, apparently Ben Wiles' granddad played for Sheffield United. Yeah, I can't remember his name. They weren't a Wiles, were he?
No.
Can't remember his name.
I think the comment that Scott Grundy's put there, if Ben Wiles had come out of Chelsea Academy, it'd be worth 10 million quid plus. And it's true, just because a player comes from where he comes from in terms of his development is irrelevant. He's either a good player or he isn't, ultimately. He can either play to a level or he can't. And we all know that Ben Wiles can play to a level. And bear in mind, the opportunity that he got last time in the Championship, he was just pushed from pillar to post, from position to position. I think the only place he didn't play was keeper. You know what I mean? And that's not going to happen this time around. So he's going to be attracting some proper suitors this year, I suspect, assuming that we keep him in close season. So that might be another contract negotiation that's ongoing to extend that.
I think it'd be a similar thing to Vokes. He'll stay. with the agreements that if we do get relegated again, they can sign a new 1-year deal and let's get a fee for him, because that's what happened with Oaksy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put with Danny Ward as well, if I'm right. He signed a 1-year deal and then we shipped him off for a couple mil as well.
Yeah.
That would have good. Fair, that would £2 million for Danny Ward were a good deal, to be honest.
Well,
Yeah.
well, 10 years later, he's still doing business. So
Well, that's true. Good point.
Yeah.
Chris says it was Eddie Colquhoun. Colquhoun? Anyone know about Ben Wells' granddad?
Auckland.
Don't know. Could be spelt wrong. We don't know. Thanks for that, Chris. Yeah, I remember Wiles. If we play the system we've played at the end of the season, is much further forward, potentially mature. That's his game and that's his jam. So hopefully we can go there. Is there anything else we want to cover before we leave off? Because we've managed to get a full hour out of this, and we've not what's happened.
No, if I could just mention one more thing about charity night, we are going to be looking for on the night. We're going to take. We're going to do an auction. So if anybody wants to donate anything to the auction, our little, no matter how big it is, our little, be much appreciated. We'll auction off on the night. We're also probably going to get some quite Q&As from where your guys help as well when you talk about, so we can fire to the panel as well on the night. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions you want to ask Toddy, Pringle, Breckin, Brano, fire them over.
Should be a great night. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah,
really looking forward to that. And I said, obviously, at the start, there's 5 tickets left. So Grant already getting Kev's DMs for tickets.
Yep.
What else?
Anything you want.
So there we go. Mick, Danny, sorry. Anything else you two want to mention?
No, I'm all right, mate. Thank you. It's very kind of you to ask.
I think we've exhausted our research for the week.
I think we have. We probably will not have any episode at all this Thursday. We don't have any former players we've spoke to in the bank, so we'll leave everything for Thursday. We'll be back next Sunday, where hopefully we'll have at least a contract or signing or something to talk about. Something's going to happen this week. Something is definitely going to happen this week. What that is, I don't know. So we'll talk about that next Sunday. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are listening, watching. Please do so. Mick, Danny, Kev, it's been a pleasure speaking with you all. Mick, don't forget to press the buttons this time, because at the start you didn't press them properly.
Oh, yeah.
See you all next week, boys and girls.
Cheers, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Freddie's on one-on-one. Freddie Penny shoot. Can they go shot? Yeah!